Tonight on Reporting Scotland, no place to call home. As the housing emergency heightens, an industry body says construction of more than 1,800 affordable homes has been delayed by Scottish Government cuts.
Rents are far too high, to the point where I can't really save money to put aside for deposit, and then the other side of it is with house prices going way up, I need to save more and more.
Also in tonight's programme, tackling a tragedy. A community comes together to oversee the disposal of 77 whales beached on the Orkney island of Sandy. Pure Shores, we tell you which stretches of Scottish coastline meet the gold standard as concerns grow over pollution. And we'll meet the antiques expert welcoming a homegrown effort to tackle the most common form of brain cancer.
And in sport, Bob McIntyre wins the Scottish Open in dramatic fashion to become the first home hero since Colin Montgomerie 25 years ago.
Hello, I'm Laura McKeever. Welcome to Monday's programme. The building of more than 1,800 new affordable homes is being delayed because of Scottish Government funding cuts, according to the body that represents house builders. It comes as property price rises in Scotland are increasingly outstripping people's ability to pay, according to new analysis by the BBC. The Scottish Government says it's investing nearly £600 million in affordable housing this year. Our business correspondent David Henderson reports.
Dan Rowntree lives and works in Edinburgh. He's renting his home and wants to buy, but that goal seems out of reach because of the cost of property.
Rents are far too high, to the point where I can't really save money to put aside for deposit, or save money to put aside for getting a mortgage sorted and all that. And then the other side of it is with house prices going way up, I need to save more and more than I used to have to.
New analysis by the BBC's found Scotland's homes have been getting less affordable in the last 20 years.
Everyone needs a home, but not everyone can afford to buy one. And it's become increasingly difficult to get a foot on the property ladder because house prices are rising faster than rates of pay.
Work goes on at this building site in East Lothian. It's prime commuter belt for the capital. But construction firms warn that new affordable homes are being delayed or stalled because of cuts to funding from the Scottish Government.
It certainly has impacted our future sites. The cut in budget has meant that some sites have been slowed down in terms of anticipated site start. What our company has done is that we've decided to purchase land in advance to promote planning permission and building warrant to ensure that when funding comes back on stream, our sites are able to move forward.
Around 5,000 all-tenure homes will be impacted by the budget, and more worryingly 1,800 affordable houses. Now, why that's a problem is because we're in the context of a national housing emergency. We've got 8 local authorities have also announced a housing emergency. We've already know that we've got 100,000 deficit in the homes required in Scotland accumulated since 2008. We've got a downward trajectory in housing starts and housing completions.
The Scottish Government says it's investing more than £500 million in affordable housing this year and has delivered more than 130,000 such homes since 2007. But campaigners warn that's not enough to match supply with demand.
Well, David is here with me now. David, we just heard there lots of younger people just despair of ever being able to buy their own home.
Well, indeed, and little wonder, Laura, because property prices have risen fast while people's ability to pay has not. Let's have a look at a graph which might explain the problem in more detail. Near the bottom, you can see average wages over the last 20 years or so, and they've gone up pretty slowly in that time. The higher lines show property prices rising much faster year on year in the same period, especially new builds at the top there. So the gap has grown between average salary and average house prices to almost £100,000 more than used to be the case. And somehow people have to find that cash if they want to buy a home. And that presents a particular problem for young people who are trying to find that cash to buy a home, having to save up for a deposit particularly. And housing experts warn that it means in practice, lots of people will simply not be able to ever get onto the housing ladder or climb that ladder.
And the Scottish Government has declared a housing emergency, but what difference does that actually make?
Well, declaring is one thing, solving it is another, because as we saw there, the problem has really crept up on us over the course of decades. Now, home builders say Scotland should try to build its way out of this crisis to increase the supply of new homes and meet demand that way, especially where need is greatest. Some of them want to see planning restrictions loosened to make that more possible, but that just sets the scene for an argument with those people who will say, by all means build, just not in my backyard. There's also a political row brewing over how affordable housing should be funded. You saw there the Scottish Government has cut funding in its most recent budget on that front by 26%, but they say that they're simply passing on a cut already imposed by the Conservatives in their budget last year, and they want the new Labour government in effect to reverse those cuts. But there's no sign that Keir Starmer's team is in any great hurry to hand over a pile of cash on John Swinney's terms. Instead, tonight, they tell me that it's for the Scottish Government to decide their own spending priorities.
OK, David Henderson for now, thank you. Now, a pod of 77 pilot whales that died after washing ashore in Orkney will be buried on multiple sites on land after archaeological tests have been carried out. The mammals were found on the island of Sandy on Thursday, following what's thought to have been the largest mass stranding in decades. Rob Flett reports.
Here in Orkney, 25 marine stranding experts have been hard at work in the beach on Sandy over the weekend. Initial investigations on the whales have found this pod was well fed. It wasn't hunger which brought them here. A section of jaws being removed from each animal, revealing its age and genetics. We'll learn whether this was one pod, or potentially 2 or 3 pods, which had come together to breed. The work has been done quickly.
At some point we're going to have to make a decision on what we can carry on doing. Realistically, the animals are beginning to decompose pretty quickly, so at some point today we'll have to make a call on moving towards more biological sampling. That means getting more data and information, perhaps not from a pathology point of view, but certainly useful from a research point of view.
Eventually, research might reveal what caused this stranding. More pressing is how to dispose of them. Orkney Islands Council has ruled out taking the carcasses back out to sea. They'll be buried in 8 pits, a maximum of 10 whales in each hole. But finding places to dig in Sandy is difficult. The island has 700 archaeological sites which can't be disturbed. It'll take time before farmers in Sandy can begin assisting the process of removing what remains of the whales from the beach. But who's going to pay for it? The pilot whales are big, but they're not quite big enough to qualify as royal fish. That would lead to help from the Scottish Government. So now the local authority must seek financial assistance at the same time as finding holes big enough to bury this pod. Rob Flett, reporting Scotland, Orkney.
More than 6,000 fines were handed out to drivers in the first month of Edinburgh's new low-emission zone. Since the start of June, certain vehicles have been banned from the city centre to try to cut congestion and improve air quality. The local authority says the pattern of fines shows motorists are quickly learning to follow the new rules. Richard Forbes reports.
Across the city centre, signs like these let drivers know that they're entering the low-emission zone. The zone stretches roughly from Queen Street across to the Meadows and from here at Holyrood across towards Haymarket. At each entry point there are cameras that read your number plate, and if it turns out your vehicle is one of the older polluting ones that's banned from the new zone, then a £60 fine will be sent out to you. In Edinburgh, enforcement started on the 1st of June, and today the figures for the number of fines handed out during the whole of June have been published. In total, 6,030 fines were issued. 5,756 of these were first offenders and 274 were second offenders. The council says it's encouraged to see the relatively low number of second offenders, and it says that shows that drivers are learning their lesson. It added that money raised from the fines will be used to cut congestion, improve air quality and encourage sustainable travel.
Richard Forbes reporting there. Some of the day's other news now. And a 13-year-old girl was among 40 people arrested over the 3-day Transmit Music Festival. Police Scotland said officers made 21 arrests at the Glasgow Green events and 19 near the entrance. Detectives are also investigating an assault on Saturday which left a 16-year-old boy in hospital with serious injuries. Around 50,000 people attended each day of the festival. Relatives of people killed in the Lockerbie bombing are being urged to register to watch the US trial of Abu Adil Masood online from home. He denies making the device that destroyed Pan Am Flight 103 as it flew over Scotland on the 21st of December 1988. His trial is due to begin in Washington, D.C. next May. Masood's defence team want live streams restricted to federal courthouses and US embassies and consulates overseas. Edinburgh University's awarded a posthumous honorary degree to the Chariots of Fire sprinter Eric Liddell to mark 100 years since his gold medal at the 1924 Olympics. They were held in Paris, as this year's will be. The award was received by the runner's daughter, Patricia Liddell Russell, who's 88. Now, people travel from far and wide to enjoy Scotland's beautiful beaches, but the number named among the best in the UK has fallen for a second year running. 6 beaches make the Times and Sunday Times top 50, including 3 in the Highlands, 2 in the North East and 1 in East Lothian. Well, our environment correspondent Kevin Keane is at Balmedie Beach in Aberdeenshire, and Kevin, it's looking beautiful there tonight.
Well, indeed it is, and it's actually relatively quiet here this evening as well, broken occasionally by the odd offshore helicopter overhead returning from one of the oil platforms in the North Sea. But of course, this is not one of your typical seaside beach resorts. This is one of the many relatively hidden gems that you might find around the 6,000 plus miles of coastline around Scotland, not including the islands, of course. And when you think of a place like the coastline here, you really think about several things. One, its popularity with dog walkers, which of course this place is because of the 13 miles of continuous sandy beach that exists here north to south. But also things that attract people here are sand dunes, seals and tranquility. There's no fighting for space on this beach. And for twins Lewis and Leah Poppy, here with their grandparents, it's a place to explore.
I think it's a great beach. We take kids down here. You know, it's a huge area as well, so it's plenty places for picnics and barbecues, things like that. So it's really great, apart from the weather.
And for friends Mabel and Adelaide taking Rosie for a walk, the shifting sands make no 2 trips the same.
You really just enjoy the natural surroundings. It's changing very quickly and it's changed a lot due to the weather, but it's just a lovely relaxing place to come.
Sana Sands at the end of the Ardnamurchan Peninsula.
Compiling the list took Chris Haslam to hundreds of beaches around the UK. He looked at a range of factors from parking to cleanliness. Why are there fewer beaches on the list from Scotland now?
The beauty of your beaches is without question. What I am concerned about, though, is both the water quality at the more popular beaches near urban centres, which seems to be declining year on year. But I'm also worried about the impact of mass tourism on those wilder beaches that are not designated bathing waters, such as anything along the North Coast 500.
From last year's list, only Findhorn Beach remains. West Sands Beach at St Andrews is among those that's dropped off, while Gullum Bents is among those newly on the list. It described Findhorn as more Iberian than Hibernian, while visitors could be in the Aegean, it says, when they visit Gullum Bents. Recent scares in Ayr and here in Portobello show the growing concern there is around water quality, and the regulator says changing weather patterns are only making that worse.
So as climate's changing, we're starting to see the impacts of that change, and that can include really intense rainfall events that we've seen in previous days. That can wash all sorts of contaminants off urban areas or from fields into the bathing waters, and that makes it a challenge to maintain good water quality in some areas.
While the sprawling sands of Balmedie and its complex dune system are a world apart from the larger tourist beaches, For visitors, stumbling across places like this are what make their experience here special. Kevin Keane reporting Scotland, Aberdeenshire.
Tonight's main news again. An industry body says construction of more than 1,800 affordable homes is being delayed by Scottish Government cuts.
Still to come in the Sport Opens, Bob McIntyre explains why winning the Scottish Open means so much.
Now, brain tumours are the biggest cancer killer of children and adults under the age of 40. And two leading cancer charities are working to establish a research centre in Scotland to help find a cure for the most aggressive form of brain cancer. Brain Tumour Research and Beatson Cancer Charity plan to open the Scottish Brain Tumour Research Centre of Excellence, based at laboratories at the universities of Edinburgh and Glasgow. Katrina Renton has more.
Glasgow's Burrow collection is a home from home for Antiques Roadshow expert Theo Burrow.
In 1930, the moulds and the rights for Weemsware were actually sold to the Bovey Pottery Company in Devon.
Her career was inspired by her great-great-grandfather's second cousin, William Burrow. But Theo has another passion.
Nice to meet you. Female head.
Campaigning for a cure for glioblastoma. Theo was diagnosed with this highly aggressive form of brain cancer in June 2022.
The journey of living and dealing with a diagnosis like a brain tumour, a cancerous brain tumour, is about having hope. And that is what this collaboration gives me and will give other patients, is hope. Real, actual, tangible hope.
The planned new research centre is a collaboration between Brain Tumour Research and the Beatson Cancer Charity. It aims to find a cure for Theo's form of cancer.
There's about 120 different types of brain tumours. Glioblastoma, the centre here in Scotland will focus on finding cures for glioblastoma. It's the most common brain tumour in adults. It's extremely malignant. People generally live for between 12 and 18 months post-diagnosis. And the research that's done here in Scotland, we think will help us find cures for that most dreadful disease.
Brain cancers are very difficult to diagnose. They're often diagnosed late, and that makes them very difficult to treat. And indeed, that leads to results in a lack of investment often. So when you get an opportunity to create a very distinct and focused programme of research into brain cancer and brain tumours, then it feels to me like a really important area to think about investing in.
Every milestone in life is important to Theo, but her ultimate goal is a life-saving cure.
My best friend's getting married in a few weeks. The fact that I'm going to be her bridesmaid for her wedding is huge for me. I didn't know if I'd make it when I got the invitation. Even if I don't manage to see any changes, the fact that changes will be coming and saving future people's lives is what it's all about for me.
Katrina Renton, reporting Scotland.
OK, let's get tonight's sport now with Amy Irons. And the golf's giving us something to smile about this summer, isn't it, so far?
Doesn't happen often, Laura, so we're going to take it, aren't we? Thanks very much. Good evening. Well, after the disappointment of our footballers at the Euros and the heartache of seeing Andy Murray play his last Wimbledon, Scotland has a champion to savour. Bob McIntyre from Oban banished the dejection of losing to Rory McIlroy by a stroke last year to win the Scottish Open at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick, as Brian McLaughlin reports.
Through and through Scottish, and it was the only event I got to as a kid to watch. My mum and dad used to take me and a few of my mates to Loch Lomond. All the ones I want, but I wanted the Scottish Open and I got it.
The golfing circus has moved from East Lothian to here in Ayrshire for the 152nd Open Championship. Bob McIntyre was due to speak to us today, but I think the celebrations are still continuing after last night's victory.
I think we'll be going in that clubhouse and having a good celebration. I think hopefully my family and friends are all in there. And
really happy for him and his family and his coaches about what he did yesterday, and obviously I think this week is going to be pretty special for him as well.
Bob and I have become friends. He's an excellent player.
He managed to win it after what had happened to him, particularly last year. It's absolutely amazing.
Great to see. Makes me excited for this week.
If he can pull it off again this week, that would be quite outstanding when he gets here.
It was back in 1999 when Paul Lawrie became the last Scot to lift the claret jug in what was a dramatic finale at Carnoustie. The same year, Colin Montgomery became the last Scot to win the Scottish Open. That was, of course, until yesterday. Could the golfing gods be aligning once again and have a Scottish Open winner and an Open Championship winner in the same year? We'll find out later on here at Troon. Brian McLaughlin reporting Scotland at Royal Troon.
Yes, fingers crossed for that. Well, to football, and Rangers have agreed a relocation to Hampden Park up until early September due to the delayed construction work at Ibrox. It means their league matches against Motherwell and Ross County on the 10th and 24th of August will be played at the National Stadium, while there are other potential home fixtures in Europe and the League Cup to think about as well. The Scottish FA say Rangers will pay for what they call an accelerated pitch growth programme to make sure the Hampden grass is ready for the start of the campaign. Championship side Queen's Park, who have a prior agreement to use Hampden from September, will move their meeting with Livingston back a day to Friday the 9th of August at their City Stadium next door. Well, from stadium dilemmas to pitch problems, and you might remember the issues at Dens Park last season, where a waterlogged pitch led to 5 games being postponed. Well, today, Dundee have announced they are going to play 2 of their home League Cup games in Brecon to allow their new pitch time to bed in. The club say they have invested heavily in a new playing surface and drainage system, but want to give it as much time as possible before the start of the league campaign. It means Annan Athletic will therefore visit Glebe Park on the 23rd of July with Inverness Caledonian Thistle arriving 4 days later. To the women's game now, and Scotland defender Kirsty Smith says all focus is on winning the group as they prepare for their final European qualifier against Serbia tomorrow night. Pedro Martinez Losa's side remain unbeaten at the top of Group B2 and will face a Serbia side hot on their heels in second spot, separated only by goal difference.
Yeah, obviously it's really positive. We had a really good result, and I think all our games have been going as well as they could right now, and we've had really good positive performances, and we're just obviously trying to build as a team, and you can see how much we've grown. We really want to win the group. We've had really good results before now, and I think that's the main aim. It'll obviously be a tough test, and we've just played them previously, but I think that's the main aim for us.
And it was a record-breaking weekend for Scotland's Gordon Reid, who won the Wimbledon wheelchair doubles title with Alfie Hewitt, marking what is their 21st Grand Slam title together, the most in the sport's history. The pair beat Takuya Miki and Takito Oda 6-4, 7-6 to be crowned doubles champions for the 6th time at the All England Club. Reid will now turn his attention to the Paralympics, an event which has also given him considerable success. He won gold at Rio in 2016 in the singles before adding a silver and a bronze to his collection at the Tokyo Games in 2021.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, and it must have been a tough decision between us and Carlos and Novak on there, but yeah, we really appreciate you guys coming. You guys are the diehards that are here for the true love of the sport, so we really appreciate it. And you know, you guys made a great atmosphere for us, which is always special, and you know, it really drove us back to turn things around in the second set. So thanks for all your support.
So yes, plenty to celebrate from a Scottish sporting perspective, Laura, over the weekend.
Definitely. Amy, thank you so much. Let's go over now to Louise Cowie to find out what's happening on BBC Scotland at 9 o'clock.
As the housing emergency escalates, we'll hear from the Minister in charge of fixing it, Paul McLennan, and ask him why affordable homes are in ever shorter supply. With the world still reeling from Saturday's assassination attempt on former and possible future US President Donald Trump, we'll speak to an ex-FBI agent and Navy SEAL about the apparent shortcomings of the security service. And living the sky life. Get ready to be jealous as we meet a Fife couple who swapped the mundane for the Misty Isle.
OK, let's take a look at the weather now with Christopher. I fear we're going to pay for the sunshine that there was today with some rain, is that right?
There's going to be some really heavy downpours around tomorrow, Laura. Still some sunshine and some lovely spells of sunshine for some today as well. I didn't feel as cool as it has done, which was nice, wasn't it? Thank you very much indeed. Very good evening to you. Yes, we had some decent spells of sunshine across some parts of the country today. But this is the satellite and radar picture, and you can see we've had a number of showers, some sundry ones across the Cairngorms National Park. And as I mentioned to Laura, there will be a number of heavy downpours coming our way tomorrow. Before we get there, let's take a look at the next few hours, and we've still got some heavy showers to contend with almost anywhere really as we head overnight, but certainly through central and southern Scotland in towards Lanarkshire there. Temperatures overnight in towns and cities 10 to 14 Celsius, still murky across Shetland with outbreaks of rain in the far north and Orkney. So to tomorrow, and you can see we've got low pressure all around us really, but tomorrow's weather is a bit of an east-west split, because in the east, that's where we're likely to see those heavy and potentially thundery downpours. They'll be slow moving and they could well cause some issues on the roads. A Met Office warning in force 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Initially dry in the west and then sunshine developing. There's those showers with us in the east, really increasing in number through the course of the day, and still some showery rain affecting the far north of Caithness and Sutherland and in towards Orkney as well. So mid-afternoon, here's our east-west split. In the west, mostly dry, some sunshine, 20 degrees, not bad. In the east, those showers numerous. They will be heavy, perhaps 20 millimetres of rain in an hour. So really poor conditions on the roads where they occur. They are hit and miss, not everyone will see them. Thicker cloud in the far north and the Northern Isles, and then as we head in towards tomorrow evening, we lose the showers, we lose the warning, and it's then largely dry. That takes us to midweek, Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, high pressure, Thursday, a weather front sweeping in, bringing some rain. So on Wednesday, there's a fly in the studio. You can see we've got some sunshine developing and then a number of showers across parts of the northwest. Temperatures up to around 21 degrees. And then looking ahead towards Thursday, there's that weather front sweeping in from the west, moving east with some outbreaks of rain. That's the forecast from me and the fly. Laura.
I'm glad it found you and not me. Thank you, Chris. Tonight's main news again. The building of more than 1,800 new affordable homes is being delayed because of Scottish Government funding cuts. That's according to Homes for Scotland, the body that represents house builders. And 77 pilot whales that died after washing ashore in Orkney will be buried at multiple sites following archaeological tests. It's thought to have been the largest mass stranding in decades. And Edinburgh City Council's handed out more than 6,000 fines to drivers in the first month of its low emission zone, which bans certain more polluting vehicles from the city centre. I will be here with your late news around 10:30 tonight. Chris too, hopefully no fly from all of us here. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.